everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and this video is about how art tells a story. There's always a story whether we know it or not, and as an artist, whether we're even conscious of it or not. And I find it fascinating to ask myself, what's the story? So I'm going to tell you the story of this last piece. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button. That always helps. About a year after my mother died, I went to visit my friend Pat Polly, whose scarves I wear all the time. She's an incredible artist. In any case, I went to stay with her, and I did a bunch of monoprints, and this was one of them. So that was sort of the genesis of this piece. It was a period of feeling burnout, but also questioning everything. So I started doing a lot of abstract art, painting, collage. I began moving away from stitching, and I had just come off my residency in Paris, outside of Paris, where I had finished a huge piece, or was now finished, just finishing that up. And it was a time of transition, really. I just started pulling back. And then that fall, my cousin Peter died. And shortly thereafter, my cat, Merlin, who was really my kind of studio assistant, buddy, emotional support animal, died. And everything sort of came to a screeching halt. And I had this piece, this big black and white monoprint up. I'm pretty sure I had it up on the design wall, and I just couldn't face this. I couldn't face any of it. I couldn't face the piece. I couldn't even stitch. I mean, I couldn't paint. I couldn't stitch. I started baking and doing all kinds of other stuff. And that went on for a year and a half, which was a time of deep personal reflection. I kind of did a deep dive into who am I and what's going on and why am I creating anything and what's the point? And I'd spent my entire adult life designing or in some creative field. I just needed to stop. And then we went, we travel, we love to travel, and we went on a trip to the Amazon River and the Galapagos, Peru and Ecuador, and it was amazing. And there were all these crafts and colors and textures and textiles, and I could feel myself getting excited. So I came home, and I started to work on this piece, but I didn't have a strong sense of it. I didn't have a strong sense of where I was going, which is fine because I often don't. But I didn't feel pulled to it. I started making vessels. I started doing a lot of three-dimensional mixed media art. And then someone commented recently, and I don't even remember what they said, but I remember reading the comment and suddenly feeling inspired to go back to this piece. And within about, I don't know, it's been probably about a week, I dove in and I finished it, and I had a feeling about it. And the feelings around this piece began with sadness, and it was dark. And now the blood is coursing through my veins and there's life. And I had found these rusty spikes on the street, and I picked up 17 of them. And I decided to incorporate those as well. So there's always a story with art. I think art is such an expression of our life and what we're going through. And sometimes I think it's really interesting to read the story or to hear the story behind the piece. But sometimes I almost don't want to know because I want to be able to put my own interpretation on the work. This piece, to me, is about fighting back. And I even wrote "fight back" on it. It's about, and there's so many layers to that, but I'll just keep it to the very personal. It's about fighting back against the way I was raised, the things I was taught, my training, the ways in which I've hurt myself as a teenager and then as an adult, the ways in which I've incorporated behaviors that I saw modeled for me that don't serve me. And this piece, it's a transcendence of all of that. It's a piece that represents my growth and my refusal to conform to the status quo. This piece represents my struggles, my despair, my sadness, but my growth and my burning desire to create, my need to create. And it reflects that journey. It reflects the self-reflection, the chaos, the refusal to give in. It's very much about the place where I live, New York City. I've incorporated posters that are plastered on city buildings. I've incorporated all different kinds of materials, and I've incorporated emotion, my refusal to accept things that do not serve me. It's kind of a resurrection in a way. I don't like the chicken wire that I put in here. I think this piece needs to lie flat. So I think I'll cut that out, which is going to be laborious and painful on the old fingers, but there it is. This is what we have to do for art. Sacrifices we have to make. There it is against the wall. I added my rusty spikes down below. I'm not sure it works. I think I'll probably take it out. I am still deciding whether I want to take out the string, the gimp that I stitched, and so the spikes are more prominent because you can't really see them from here. But I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Well, there they are. To end this video, I really want to give a plug to self-reflection and really finding out who we are. Because when we really dig deep and we just peel back the layers and layers and layers of training, of societal pressures, of our childhoods, of our upbringing, all the things that have occurred in our lives that shape us, that form us, all of that gets put into our art. And there's something really, really exciting and beautiful about that. So this is a plug for digging deep. And it's not always fun. It can be incredibly painful. It can be extremely uncomfortable. As many of you know who have watched my channel over the years, it's been 5 years, I have struggled with fear while creating my entire adult life. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I have been able to come into this studio and create without being completely dogged and plagued by that fear. And I tell you, it is one of the most exciting and just freeing feelings in the world to be able to come into this studio and sit down and start creating without all those voices of doubt, the running critique of whatever I'm doing. and to be able to come in here and just play and enjoy the process and go through the moments of self-doubt and wondering what's next and being okay with it and knowing that it's going to be okay, that I've been through this before and I'll keep going and I'll get through it again. And I'll keep creating and I'll keep playing and I'll keep exploring. There's nothing more beautiful and fulfilling than that. My love to all of you. Thanks so much for watching. Go out there and create and be you.